team like Kyrie and KD, or the Lake Show with King James and AD. Wish I could match him up with the bad boys from the 80s, but no black and white, I need that in HD. HenDawgz.
Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy HenDawgz, and we back to it. You know how we do it. NBA legends and players explain how special college Michael Jordan was. And if I had to choose one part of Jordan's career that I don't know too much about, it would be his college. It would be his college days. I mean, I remember the game winner that he hit his last year, but other than that, I don't know too much about Jordan's college days. So this is gonna be a great video for me. But before we get into it, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit that before we get started so you don't forget. You know, they say it takes a person on average like 5 to 7 videos to watch before they subscribe. So if you've been watching my videos and you didn't hit that mark, it's about that time. And for the people that's watching me for the first time, let's go ahead and just break those averages. Like, who says that has to be it? You can watch my video for the first time and subscribe right then. Like, there's nothing illegal to do that. So go ahead and subscribe, man. I'm trying to break through the algorithms. In order to do that, I need y'all to like and comment. That's gonna help me break through those algorithms. But most importantly, man, I appreciate all the ones that's already tuned in, that's just rocking with me, that's commenting, that's doing everything, that's creating this super cool and fun, entertaining YouTube channel for me. I can't do it by myself. I can do these videos, I can react, I can edit, I can post, I can do all these things, but in order to make this YouTube channel really blow up and really, be successful, I need y'all help, man, and I appreciate everybody that's been helping me so far. But let's get into this video. Like I said, I'm actually curious to see what Michael Jordan's college days was like, because I don't know too much. So let's get into it. We got NBA legends and players explain how special college Michael Jordan was. Let's get it.
So we've seen NBA legends and players talk about how dominant Michael Jordan was with the Chicago Bulls. I even made a video where they talk about how underrated he was during his Washington Wizards years. So I said to myself, why not go back where he started to blossom, from Michael Jordan to Air Jordan? I compiled some NBA legends that watch or play with him, and I also put some of his college teammates and legendary college coaches to show that he was already a legend in the making. So enjoy the video, man.
His athleticism. He was in Carolina, and they were running, I forget, 100 or 40-yard dive. Mm-hmm. And he ran some spectacular number. And the late Dean Smith, who was a really good friend of mine, and also Roy Williams, who just retired at North Carolina, we were all close. And they were talking about him, I think it was running 100 or something like that. He ran at some spectacular time. Wow. And one of the coaches said something to him differently. And he said, oh, I can do better than that. Wow. He went out 0.2 of a second faster. Wow. And like vertical jump means a lot, but it means a lot to the ones who have skill.
Right.
Some guys jump quickly. Some guys have to wind up.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan was like a cat.
Well, I remember recruiting Michael.
Before we get into, I think that's James Worthy. He's going to explain how he feels about Michael Jordan. But I got a question for y'all. Would y'all say, for the people that was, in tune back then, so for the older crowd that was a little bit older and knew what was going on at this time, I mean, I'm definitely not about to sit here and ask y'all, do y'all think that Michael Jordan would have been who he is today? Because y'all be lying if y'all say yeah. But would y'all say, like, when he was coming out of North Carolina, my bad, I live at an intersection, y'all, I apologize. But would y'all say that, like, people was predicting Michael Jordan to be like the best player in the league, at least? Coming out of North Carolina, it was like yeah, Michael Jordan is the future. Like, he's gonna be the best player, for years to come in this league. Was that kind of the consensus? Was that kind of the opinions of? Because he was the third pick. It's not like he was the number 1 pick. So there was 2 people who people felt could have been better than him. But yeah, let me know. Did people think that Michael Jordan was gonna be, the next best guy to come, once he got drafted? Like, before he played a Chicago Bull game, what did people think about Michael Jordan?
Michael Jordan. I remember him coming in on a weekend, the football weekend, and I was down in my room at the end of the hall, and the elevator doors opened up. And all I could hear was this big mouth, and it was Michael Jordan.
He had a
was
big
like,
mouth back then?
yeah, this is gonna be my hall. I'm taking over this dorm. And I was like, he's still in high school. He's still in high school. And I'm like, who is this guy? And I never thought he was arrogant, but he was full of confidence.
Yeah.
And I was better than Michael Jordan for about 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
First 3 weeks of practice. And I saw some things in him, Twan, that I mean, he dunked on Sam Perkins and I one time, and I still don't know how he did it. But I saw him in the raw. And most of us were kind of in the raw when we came to Coach Smith. And he either slowed you down or he either enhanced your game throughout his theory. But Michael was an incredible freshman. And, one of the rare moments that he was able to start. Phil Ford, myself, and Michael, I think, was the third freshman to ever start.
Look at the three-point line. The three-point line is super short, bro. Like, it don't even go past the end of the free throw line. Like that's crazy. So, I guess my question is, how many years was the three-point line in effect right here? Like, I think it started in, 77, 78 in the NBA, but I'm not sure when it started in college.
So, he was a competitor. I mean, the guy didn't like to lose at anything. You could play him in a game of backgammon, a game of cards, and he would be emotionally upset if he lost. Mm-hmm. And so I knew he was going to be an all-star, but I didn't know he was going to be possibly the best player that ever played. Never.
Okay.
In Chapel Hill at a place called Woolen Gym, and we were the number 1 ranked recruiting class, and we went over to Chapel Hill to play. And after playing against Jordan and those guys, we were kind of looking at ourselves, going, I don't know if this is gonna this might not have been a good decision. And then like people would say, hey, did you know in college that Jordan was going to be great? Like, yeah, we did.
That was the question I had.
When you played against him and Len Bias and Ralph Sampson, you're kind of going, all right, whoever said all men are created equal, that's BS. Like, that's just not true.
The kid is just an absolutely great
Bobby
kid.
Knight?
If I were going to pick the 3 or 4 best athletes I've ever seen play basketball, he'd be one of them. I think he's the best athlete I've ever seen play basketball.
That's
bar none.
crazy.
If I were going to pick...
That's high praise from Bobby Knight. I've never seen Bobby Knight say nothing positive about nobody. I mean, granted, I haven't really watched much Bobby Knight. I've only watched the crazy stuff where he throws chairs and see him yelling at people. But for him to say that Michael Jordan is the greatest athlete he ever seen at that time, Bobby Knight still looked young right there. So for him to say that back then, yeah, Bobby Knight, he saw something that a lot of people didn't see at that point.
People with the best ability I'd ever seen play the game, he'd be one of them. If I were going to pick the best competitors that I'd ever seen play, he'd be one of them. So in the categories of competitiveness, ability, skill, and then athletic ability, he's the best athlete, he's one of the best competitors, he's one of the most skilled players. And that, to me, makes him the best basketball player that I've ever seen play.
Do you recall the first...
What year was that right there? Was he already with the Bulls, or was he in college at that point? He said he was the best player he's ever seen. And this is how special college Michael Jordan was. So I'm going to assume that Michael Jordan was still in college. So shout out to Bobby Knight for kind of predicting all of this shit that's been happening. Like, he's that one person that would be like, yeah, I knew he was going to be the GOAT. If that comes out that he was saying all that while Michael Jordan was still in college.
Time you played with Michael Jordan when he arrived on campus?
Yeah, it was in practice. We always had, during the summers, and went to summer school, and we had pickup games, and everybody comes back. The classes before, Phil Ford, Dudley, all these guys came back, and Michael came that summer as well. And playing in those games, we saw a little glimpse of him, but he wasn't what he is now. He wasn't majestical at that time, but
wow.
Playing in practice, we had a guy by the name, I don't know if you remember, Curtis Hunter. Mm-hmm. And he came before Michael, and they played the same position. But long story short, Curtis thought he was Michael Jordan at the time, but when Michael came there, it became a battle.
He thought he was Michael Jordan until Michael Jordan pulled up. That's what they always say about the Chrysler 300s and Bentleys. They say a Chrysler 300 looked like a Bentley until a Bentley pull up. And then when you see that Bentley, it's like, okay, yeah, this Chrysler 300 looks like a Chrysler 300. Nothing wrong. You got a Chrysler 300 out there. There's nothing wrong with it. I ain't trying to, talk about your car. But it's levels. It's levels. It might look like a Bentley until a Bentley pulls up.
And Curtis couldn't hang with him, let's say. So we thought we had a nice player in Curtis, but Michael just took head and shoulders over him.
How much better did he make you, both in the play on the court and what he was telling you off the court?
Well, I think, a college player from now to where he is a Gawk in the Hall of Fame is a different person. But I think the one thing that you look at with his career, the things that he came into the league as his weaknesses were actually his strengths when he left. His ball handling, his outside shooting was strengths. So that just showed the testimony of how much he worked and how hard he worked during the off seasons and when he used to come back to Carolina and play pickup with us in all of those years. I think his enthusiasm and love of the game, and you can even see it in the interview, his reluctancy to accept greatness, but to be great is what makes him Michael Jordan. On is probably, if not getting smacked in the head.
But yeah, I think Kennedy J. Smith brings up a very great point. I think that Michael Jordan is one of them players, and Kobe is also in that category, where they played basketball because they loved it so much. And I gotta throw Kobe in there. Y'all know who my GOAT is. Like, I gotta throw Kobe stuff in here. But yeah, they reminded me of each other in the sense of like everything that came with it, the shoes, the Nike deal, the Jordan deal, the Sprite deals, just all this other stuff. Like, all of this stuff came with it. Like, they wasn't playing basketball because of that stuff. Like, some players are literally playing basketball because they want to, provide for their families, and they want to, become millionaires and billionaires and, be these rich people, which nothing is wrong with that. Like, if that's the way to change your family, the generation of your family. Like, I get it. Like, generations and generations, your family will be changed because of this. But Michael Jordan wasn't thinking of it like that. He wanted to be the greatest basketball player because he just wanted to win. You work so hard and you love something so much, all this other stuff is just going to just gradually come with it. And I love that. I love that because he's not doing it for the money. He's not doing it for the endorsements. He wasn't doing it for none of that. He was doing it for his love of the game. And because of that, he got everything he got today.
There it is last weekend.
Him as a freshman, we played pickup games. I'd hit him with an elbow, and I'd bang him.
Who was that?
And I could see some of the timidness.
Looked like Nick Cannon.
But, boy, by the time he got to be a sophomore, I can remember playing against him, and he hit me one time. I elbowed him in the chest, and he turned around and elbowed me right back in the chest and said, "I'm not scared of you anymore."
I did the running program before the season started. He says, "I want to be the best player." And I said, "Well, then you have to work harder than you did in high school." He said, "Well, I worked as hard as everybody else." I said, "I thought you just told me you wanted to be the best player."
Michael got better and better every year. Every practice, every game, he grew with confidence, and you just saw it coming, and it was just a matter of time.
Every day in practice, when Coach Smith was talking, every player looked at Coach because of the respect, and they knew what they could get from him. But Michael looked right down into Coach Smith's soul.
But I do believe that Michael Jordan has something in his heart or something in his engine that very few athletes in history have.
The guy's got to win. That's it. He has to win. And I always credit that to being the youngest of three boys. And his dad would sit there and say, "All right, hey, so what, Michael? You get picked on. Take care of yourself." Sure, part of it was
that he got
cut by his team and didn't like it.
The other player on his team was out.
It was stoked by Coach Smith. Coach Smith can stoke your fire, and you'll either respond or you won't.
Yeah, so I really think all of that competitive nature comes from Coach Smith and the way he kind of psychologically got us to go at each other as well as the other team and keep us so sharp. So all of those things that I hear Michael say that he does, I'm like, yeah, you got that from Coach Smith. You didn't think of these things. You weren't that competitive. You were just like everyone else. But Coach Smith kind of put the seed in for him.
Here's Bryant, three-pointer.
You need that. You need that person to make a man out of you. Like I always say, the great coaches is either gonna make you quit or gonna make you great. It's like no in between. They're not gonna make you the same player. They're not gonna just have you working and not getting any better. Like you're gonna either quit because it's too tough and they don't want you there no more, or you're gonna be great. You're gonna be better. Like, that's just the great thing about having a great coach, and that's what they said Dean Smith did for Michael Jordan.
It was our sophomore year against Virginia. We were down 18 at halftime, I believe. We came back, and he made an unbelievable play on Rick Carlisle. And then a couple plays later, Virginia takes a shot, and he goes up over Ralph Sampson and grabs the rebound. And he just made big play after big play.
I remember one game where he went down the middle and dunked it after there'd been a little altercation between Ben Coleman and Matt Doherty. And a few minutes later, Michael's got the ball under his arm. We're in the four corners. And Herman Veal was supposed to be guarding him. Adrian Branch says, "Herman, go get him." And Herman said, "You want his blankety blank, you go get him."
They were scared of him. He said, "No, I'm good. You want him, you go get him."
This guy can do 360s, cradling, rocking. But I had never seen that.
And in the locker room, he asked me, he said, I didn't want to watch what Michael, he said, "What did he do?" And I said, "Coach, I can't describe it."
I kept hearing about it, so I did see it on the tape the next day, and it was sensational, and certainly it showed his ability, and I hope that Maryland didn't think it was too showy. I didn't. I kind of like seeing it.
Who was that?
The first thing Coach Smith said was...
Was that Dean Smith right there?
"Well, I'm glad you made it." And the second thing he said was, "Do you know Kenny was ahead of you? Why didn't you pass it to him?" So that was the first two things that Coach said to him. The true Coach Smith fashion.
I said they'll remember it when we play them the next time, but then you'll just have to do it better.
Right.
Instead of his shooting and his offensive, I was more impressed with his defensive ability. Because when he said, "You know what? I have this whole side of the floor covered," he had the whole side of the floor covered. He was
tongue out in college.
An exceptional shot blocker from the weak side in college, where guys would have layups or beat someone to the basket, and he would come help side defense. And guys have wide open layups, and you think they're dunks, and he comes over and he would just, block shots. And early in his, especially in college, he used to block dunks. So I had never really seen guys go after other guys' dunks and be able to catch them in midair and choke the ball down. He could guard a point guard, a two guard, a small forward, some power forwards if he had to. Michael was the best defensive player in the country, without question.
Would Michael become a great player if he'd gone somewhere else? Yeah. Would he have maybe done all the things that he's done? Maybe not. Because I think Coach Smith has proven that he's helped players become great.
Who's that right there?
Not only just make it in the NBA, but great NBA players. And you look at the players' comments, they all give Coach Smith a lot of credit. The greatest thing that Michael Jordan said about Dean Smith, he says that Coach Smith gave him the fundamentals to build a foundation that allowed him to expand and do so many other things with his game. And that's what Coach Smith did. Coach Smith wouldn't accept mediocre or sloppiness from anyone, but he pushed Michael, I think, harder than any player who ever played here.
So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and you can already tell that Michael Jordan stood out from the crowd. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, show love to the YG gang, and I'm out.
Great video. I needed that. I needed to see what Michael Jordan was great at in college, and from that video, I feel like a lot of people already knew he was going to be great. Like, I'm not saying people knew he was going to be the #1 overall player of all time, but people kind of knew he was going to be the next guy. Like, people knew he was going to be a Hall of Famer and, going to be a super great player. But I appreciate y'all for watching that video. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if y'all haven't already. Go ahead and hit that like button if y'all like that video. Go ahead and write something in the comments. Write how y'all felt about college Michael Jordan. Did y'all think that he was going to be that guy? Did y'all think he was going to be the Michael Jordan he is today? Or did y'all think he was going to be another, another just regular all-star? That's what I think. I forget who said it in this video, but it was like, yeah, I kind of thought he was going to be an all-star, but I didn't think he was going to be the great player he is today. So I appreciate y'all like always. We out.